keep doing what you are best in doing. Imparts on these students, because definitely there will be a reward at the end. So at this point, I'll pass the mic to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Nigeria and the world. My name is Oluwagbemisola Hanaogumefun, and I am here to speak about something deeply human, undeniably universe, and painfully persistent. I'd like to talk about something that stretches across continents and cultures. Something that has been carried on the backs of generations of women over time. Women who have been taught to always shrink themselves, just so others could feel tall. I'm here to speak about something that has been woven into our stories, into our languages, our traditions, and our structures. I'm here to talk about something that has survived time. Not just because we are weak, but because we have been trained, we have been conditioned to make the society comfortable. And the society has become comfortable to our silence. And I want to talk about the plight of a woman. Because today we speak loudly. We are no longer quiet about it. We speak with confidence. We speak with intentionality. We speak because we understand that now we require change. And that change is not to favor women. No. When that change comes into being, you're not doing us a favor. No, you're not. We speak out now because that change is a necessity to humanity. The plight of a woman. First, we need to try to understand the plight. What do I mean when I say the plight of a woman? The plight of a woman is multi-layered. It's something that is not just, it doesn't come from just one aspect. There's so many things embedded. So many forces at work against us as women, and we have so many battles that we have to face, beginning from the very first point that you are being born as a woman and onto the very last breath that we take. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie said something during her popular TED Talk that she titled, "We Should All Be Feminists." And she said, "We teach girls to shrink themselves. We teach girls to make themselves smaller. We teach them to have ambition, yes, but not too much. We're told because you're female, you should aspire to marriage." And you hear that even in the African culture, they would say the place of a woman is in the kitchen. That's saddening. Let's look at some of the plights, some of the things that women have to go through. First, in the home, because it begins from the home. In the very home we grow in, we hear things and we see things like the boy is not supposed to, the girl, you see the girl child is being made to wake up very early, while the boy child is still there stretching, twisting and turning. The girl child wakes up, sweeps, cooks, washes, takes care of the younger ones, practically takes up the mother role in the home. The girl child is made to grow up speedily, all because she is a girl and we are training her for marriage. Personally, I know that some years ago when I was nursing my first son, it was just 3, and I would tell him, boy, let's go into the kitchen. And I started teaching him how to cook, how to do house chores. To the people around me, it was crazy. Number 1, it was just 3 years old. And number 2, he's a boy. Why should you be teaching a boy how to cook? Why should you be teaching? And then my husband will be like, come on, leave my son alone, this and that. When you give birth to a daughter, then you can teach her how to cook. And I'll be like, no. As long as he eats, he has the responsibility to also cook. It's not the work of a girl child to cook. Nobody is your personal chef. Fast forward to several years down the line. I'm a full-chested mother of boys. I don't have any girl. So if I say I'm waiting for the baby girl that I will teach how to cook, I'll just put myself under undue pressure. And that's what we see women go through in this society today. And that's when we now begin to see men begin to tell their wives, if you don't have a baby girl, or if you don't have a baby boy, yeah, it's always if you don't have a baby boy, because they believe that the girl child is not a child. And until you give birth to the baby boy, the Igbos will call them Okpara and Yorubas will call them Arole, Okpomulero, because the girl will go and marry and she will drop the father's name and she will pick her husband's name and she will do this and she will do that. And because of that, the girl child is relegated to the background. And the boy child is given a priestly or a kingly upbringing, while the girl child is brought up like a slave, because she's being trained at that point. The girl child is being conditioned. You're being conditioned to dream, but don't dream too much, don't dream too far. The girl child is being conditioned to swallow our thoughts, our ideas, to please others. The girl child is not asked, what do you want to become? Because they know everything, no matter what you want to become or no matter what you aspire to, it all ends in the home of another man. The plight of a woman. It begins from the home. We see some homes, they don't even bother to send their girl child to school, because they believe that, why should I send her to school? After all the money I spend on her, she will take it to a man's house. And that's why today, in the aspect of education, thank God, women are beginning to speak up. Voices are beginning to go up. But we see women, girl children, not being sent to school. Some will be sent to primary, secondary, and that's it. Afterwards, let your husband send you to the rest. If he wants you to study more, he'll do the rest. That shouldn't be the case. Because first, we are humans before we become a boy or a girl. We are all humans. And that should be seen in the way everyone is treated. In the aspect of marriage, the same thing is seen. You see a man and a woman go out in the morning. At least nowadays that we have the working women and the career women. The man and the woman will go out in the morning, come back tired and exhausted in the evening. The man goes straight for the couch. Oh, I'm exhausted. And tells the wife, let me know when dinner is ready. Excuse me, you both came in exhausted. But the society that we find ourselves in expects that the man can sleep while the woman should go into the kitchen to prepare meals. We see situations where the man could even be a stay-at-home man. Courtesy, not that he is unemployed, but courtesy the evolution of AI and all that. He could run his business from the comfort of his home, and the woman still has to go out to work. But we find situations whereby the woman still comes back and is expected to still carry out the chores as the woman. Am I saying she shouldn't, or no, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm actually trying to point out here is, if we see ourselves as both humans, we need to eat. It doesn't matter who prepares the meal, or whoever is available to prepare the meal should prepare the meal. She's not home, I am home. I'm less busy right now. I'm not in a meeting or anything. Can I put something on fire for her to come? Yes, please, by all means. Do I have to wait for her to come back? Now put yourself in her shoes. If she were to be home and you are out there, what would be your expectation? You'd expect that by the time you get back home, you should hear dinner is ready. Would you like to shower first and eat later, or you want to eat first and shower later? That's what you expect. So why can't that expectation too be for the woman? In marriage, women are made to go through a lot of or should I say they go through a lot of domestic violence, go through a lot of issues, a lot of problems that they cannot speak up. They can't. Because if they do, you hear a wise woman builds her home, a foolish woman tears it down. It takes two to tango. Why should it be a wise woman? What about a wise man? Or what about a wise individual? And just because of that saying, the responsibility of having to build a happy home, a peaceful home, has been put upon the woman. And you hear things like, the good child is for the father, and the bad child is for the mother. Why? If both hands are on deck, why should one person take responsibility for the good return and the other party take responsibility for the bad return? Why? Why should it be so? Personally, I've been through a situation where I went through an abuse. And somebody was saying, and I know what a lot of people said. It's because she's still this. It's because she's this. Women don't want to do this. They don't want to do. A lot of people said a lot of things. I just there. Okay. Interesting. But then something happened shortly after that. One of the people that said a lot of negative things concerning me when I was going through mine said something. The same thing that happened to me happened to her brother. So this time around, it wasn't the wife that was abused. It was the wife abusing the husband. And she was like, "Ha! You will not marry her." I said, "No. The husband is at fault." She said, "No." I said, "Well, that was what you said when it was my turn." She said, "No, no, 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 no." And I was like, this is the situation we find ourselves. So it's not just about men trampling on the rights of women. It's also sad that even we women, we also trample on the rights of other women. Yes. You see homes where wives are being stigmatized, traumatized by their in-laws, even friends, neighbors, sometimes even their parents, their own parents. Yes, we see that a lot. In marriage, a woman is expected that when you sometimes we're expected that when you want to pursue your career or you want to pursue your dreams, you have to pick one between being married, building your home, or pursuing your career, pursuing your dream. That does not it's not the same thing when it's the turn of a man. It's not the same thing. It's not. A speaker spoke the other time. In political spaces, especially when interviews are being done, there's some questions that they won't ask men, but they will ask women. When you attain this position, how do you want to carry the position and your home? Are you telling me the men that run for these positions are not married? Don't they have homes? Don't they? Of course they do. Of course they do. They have homes. They have responsibility. They have families that they should also tend to. But one thing we found in our culture, especially in the African culture, is this. If you find a girl of marriageable age and a man of marriageable age, a young lady and a young man, both of marriageable age, the young lady could be washing clothes, for example, or cooking or something, and hear people say, "Well done, oh, should I bring my clothes?" Or, "Well done, oh, cook it to be delicious, oh." But when it's the man washing clothes, you hear things like, "No, wow, don't you have girlfriends that can come and help you wash clothes?" That's the mentality we are putting into our men. Women, when you want to get married, you want a cook, you want a launderer, you want a cleaner, you want babysitter, thank you, errand girl, thank you. These are the things that are built into the mentality of our men now. But then, like I said earlier, women are beginning to speak up. Hence the herald of feminism. But when I talk about feminism, I'm not asking us to, it's not, feminism is not anti-men. No. That's not what I'm talking about. But let's look at the welfare of the women. Let's treat them the way we would like to be treated. And when we talk about this, it's not just in the African society. We find it all over the world. It's the same thing everywhere. It's just in different ratio. But it's the same thing everywhere. In the US, there has been complaints about women being talked over or talked down in meetings. We're in a meeting, we're all colleagues, and I am making a point, and then a man will just talk over me without waiting for me to finish. In my classroom, I tell my students, when they talk over the other, you're bullying the person, because you're indirectly telling that person, keep your mouth shut, what you're saying does not make sense. And this is what the men do to the women. Indirectly telling them, keep your mouth shut. Talk over them, interrupt them rudely. You know, there are times when you could be discussing, yes, you have something to say that is in alignment with what the other person says, and you want to chip in something. You know, there are ways to do that. You could, oh, sorry, can I just chip this in? That's a different ball game. But when you just rudely interrupt someone, you're crushing their ego. You're telling them, keep your mouth shut. You don't have anything tangible to say. We've seen cases where women are denied leadership roles despite being qualified. We see it happen in offices, we see it in government parastatals, in politics, despite them having the qualifications. The only thing that disqualifies them is the fact that they are women. And unfortunately, in some cases, we see other women supporting this movement. Just like the example we got this morning about a woman coming to step in, a 70-year-old woman coming to step in to take the opportunity another young woman was supposed to get, simply because she chose not to marry her son anymore. That's her choice. She must have had a reason for deciding, I don't want to go on with this man anymore. We cannot hold her to ransom for that. Whether it's a positive choice or it's a negative choice, it is still her choice. She shouldn't be held ransom to that. We've seen cases where women are underpaid for jobs they do. The same job that they do with other men, and the men are paid well. But simply because they are women, they are underpaid. And I think I've even watched an interview of a very popular American actress who talked about this same thing. And she mentioned that if, as a woman, you play a lead in a movie, you get paid like, maybe like 10 times less the amount they would pay a man for the same lead role. And it still happens. And she was talking about a particular director who is trying to bridge that gap, who is trying to make sure that women are well compensated for whatever they do. It's not supposed to be so. We see cases where women are discouraged from voicing out. They're discouraged from speaking up. And this even begins from the home. This begins from the home in some cases. You hear things like, oh, you talk too much. Are you a chatterbox? You've been talking since morning. Come on, close your mouth. As a girl child, you're not supposed to talk when others are talking. And you hear things like, close your mouth, the men are speaking. In family meetings, The mothers, how many says do they even get to say? How many things do they get to say? In some cases, they are not even invited into those meetings. In some cases, they are not even invited into those meetings. And if they finally get invited, you see them seated at the back, because they should just be shadows while their husbands are the light. So they are the shadow that makes their husbands shine. What stops a woman from being the light and the husband being the shadow that makes her shine? Yes, there can't be a light without a shadow, and there can't be a shadow without a light. But what stops one person from being the one supporting the other person? Why must it be a particular gender always supporting? I know some will say, okay, because the Bible says we are helpmates. But let me give you an illustration. In the African culture, or let me say, in some of the African cultures, we believe in putting things on our head. Not all cultures believe in that. But if you want to put something, let's say something heavy on your head, and you need someone to help you put it on your head, would you call a little child to do that? Do you think that little child would have the capacity to help you lift that heavy burden onto your head? Do you think so? No. You need to call someone that you know that his or her strength collaborates with what you need to do. So you look at the load you want to carry. This load is very heavy. And you see one uncle that has big, Igbos will call it hakbobi. You know, muscles, chest and everything. And you're like, uncle, please help me lift this on my head. Or you see a lady that you know that, yes, she seems like she has the power to carry this thing. That's the person you will call. You will not call even a tiny little man or tiny looking man to help you carry it, because you know that this thing is very heavy. Even though he's a man, he might not have the strength to carry it. You call someone that you know has the strength required. And in some cases you might have misjudged. You think someone has enough strength, and the person will look at you and say, I'm sorry, I cannot help you, please call somebody else. Now what am I trying to bring out from that illustration? If a woman is a helpmate, it's because she has the capacity to render value. She's not supposed to be relegated into the background. No, she's not. In some religious settings, you hear the woman is not supposed to speak in church or speak in the mosque, or the woman is not supposed to speak where men are speaking. The woman is not supposed to address a congregation. The woman is not supposed to do this. The woman is not supposed to do that. There's so many rules against what the woman can do or what the woman cannot do. And even in some religious settings, you see that the woman is kept separately away from where the men are, probably at the back. We are all humans, so why should there be a segregation? I've talked about families prioritizing the male child over the female child. And then you hear things like, he's going to be the one that will take over after me. Who says the girl child cannot take over? Who says the girl child cannot be a matriarch? Who says? Must it always be a patriarch? Who says? In so many positions, company, government, you see a lot of men, and even the little number of women you see, They are being sidelined. They are being sidelined. They don't allow them to express themselves to the full potential that they want to express themselves to. We see the same thing in sports, in media. Women are always relegated. They are always relegated. You hear some things in some offices. You have to. Some offices don't employ a pregnant woman. Some don't, because you hear things like afterwards you give birth and then you'll be off work for some time, and then you. Some do not employ single ladies who aspire to be married, either immediately or very soon. They'll tell you, once you pick up this job, you can't get married in the next maybe 5 years. And some, if you now finally get married, they'll tell you you can't have children until so and so and so time. We don't tell that to the men. If we create opportunities where women can easily build their career, build their homes, there'll be no conflict. There'll be no conflict, because when it comes to multitasking, women are up there. They are wired naturally to multitask. Women are naturally wired to multitask. Give them opportunity. I remember when I was nursing my second son, the school I worked then, she decided to do something. She said, okay, I'm sorry, as a private owner, I cannot give the number of time or the amount of time that government would give you for maternity leave. I apologize for that, and I can't do that. But one thing I can do for you is I can create a safe space for you to do your work and still safely care for your child. And she did that. She opened up a creche solely for nursing teachers. It wasn't open to the public. It was just for teachers who had babies. And so instead of you having to think, where do I keep my child? You come to work with your child, you put your child there. She had people who were going to take care of your child while you do your job. You're sure that your child is in safe hands. You don't have to worry about whether your child is crying or no, or hungry or something. Maximally, if your child needs your attention, someone will come call you. We need your attention in the creche. Someone will come call you. So I noticed that it gave me the freedom to be able to help my students without having to think about, oh, my son, is he going to be fine or is he not going to be fine? I had that freedom. So if most offices or establishment put that in place, I feel most of their fears would not be needed. And because these things are not in place, sometimes women are made to put a pause on their dreams due to motherhood. When it's time to start having children, you hear things like, oh, I stopped working because I want to focus on the children. But the man does not have to stop working because he wants to focus on the children. Why should it always be the woman? Look at the psychological weight that women now have to, or have always had to carry. The weight of self-doubt because of all these things that happen in the society, all these things that happen around us. Now women are now made to begin to doubt themselves. They begin to think, am I even good enough? Am I even sure that I can do this? Because their voices have been silenced over time. They've been made to choose peace, choose to please others, choose to please systems over their own thoughts, over their own aspirations. They've become people pleasers. The world does not even believe in the strength of a woman anymore. And then you hear things like, maybe when you see a succeeding woman, you hear things like, who knows how many men she has to sleep with to get the money she's spending. You hear things like, who knows whether she has a godfather somewhere. Small girl with a big god. And the big god is one sugar daddy somewhere. You hear things like, do you know how many people she has to sleep with before she got that position or before she got that job? These are the kind of things we hear. Nobody believes anymore that a woman can actually walk up from the ground and take herself up the ladder. Nobody believes. Because how am I even supposed to believe in you when I don't even give you the opportunity to rise? So when you rise, I want to believe that you must have done something sneaky behind the scenes. And because of these beliefs, women, unfortunately, are beginning to now believe in themselves that they cannot do it, that they cannot attain it. And now you hear, sadly, from women now who aspire to be successful. You hear things like, in fact, if I just get one very rich guy to come and marry me, my problem is settled. Why should your problem be settled with you marrying a rich guy? What happens to you being the rich lady? You hear things like aspiration. In Yoruba, they will call it emioga, the heart of the boss. You see, young ladies, vibrant young ladies, aspiring to be the emioga. Why don't you aspire to be the oga, the boss himself? Why should you be the one in control of the boss? Because now most women don't understand or have been conditioned not to see that they can actually rise to these levels. From the speeches of some of the previous speakers today, one of them spoke about women not having enough mentorship. Another talked about women not having enough support, sponsorship. And I agree. Because the society we find ourselves in is a society that believes that the woman or the girl child should not rise above the male child. The girl child should be under the boy child. Do you think that kind of society would provide a support system for the girl child? No. And that's where we find ourselves. And that's why Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie said we should all be feminists. We should all strive to empower the feminine gender. Because now the modern woman is rising. and she's not silent. She's refusing to be quiet. She is refusing to carry on the suffering, the silence, the mediocrity of the past. She is rejecting it. And it's coming up as a shock to the male gender, because this is not what they've been used to. You hear things like, our mothers went through a lot of things in their father's house, but they never this, they never that. The female gender is rising, and they are refusing to be quiet. They are refusing to follow the status quo. They are rising to break walls, even where no way is created for them. They are beginning to shatter glass ceilings that has held them bound from growing over the years. You hear some men who say, oh, the moment the moment a woman is richer than you is a problem. And because of that fear, you see men suppress their wives because of the fear that, oh, if I give her a support, she becomes higher than me, she might not respect me anymore. She might not do this anymore. Because especially the African culture has programmed men to believe that they are the provider. And if we look at some of the men that we have today, apologies men, I'm not here to fight you, neither am I here to accuse you. But if you look at some of the men that we have today, if you take out the provision, they bring nothing else to the table. Nothing else. All they bring to the table is provision, funds. And because they have brought provision to the table, they try to suppress the woman so that she does not get higher to a level where she can provide for herself, because at that point their provision becomes useless and their position becomes threatened. Why should we all be feminists? Like I said earlier, being feminist is not anti-men. It's not a war against men. No, we're not trying to be lord over you. No, we're not. That's not why we should be feminists. It's not about anger. It's not about rebellion. No, that's not what we are doing. It's not about bitterness. It's just solely about justice. Justice for humanity. Let everyone be treated as human, not placed in positions simply because of your gender. Let there be balance in the opportunity given to both gender. Let there be equality. Let's uphold humanity in all we do. It's not about, oh, this person is my gender, this one is not my gender, this one is this. No, let's uphold humanity in all we do. We are first humans. We are first humans. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie defined feminism as the belief in the social, political, and economic equality of sexes. When we make everything balanced between the male and the female gender, that is feminism. Feminism is not what unfortunately, some women do it wrongly nowadays. They think feminism is about antagonizing the male gender. No, it's not that. It's not about, like I said, it's not anti-men. No. So it's not about fighting against the male gender, or it's about speaking up for the rights of a woman, ensuring that a woman gets exactly what she deserves, be it opportunity, be it access, be it visibility. Ensure that a woman gets what she deserves. And this call is to everyone. For the men, think about all the women you see out there as your own sister, your own daughter. If that lady you see were to be your daughter or your sister, would you ask to sleep with her before giving her a job? If that young lady you see were to be your sister or your daughter, would you ask to sleep with her before granting her a promotion? Would you rubbish her rights? How would you feel if you see another man treating your sister or your daughter like a domestic slave, all in the name of marriage? How would you feel? Ironically, men are very protective when it comes to their sisters and their daughters. Many of the things they dish out to the women out there, they cannot accept an iota of it for their sisters or their daughters. They cannot. And that's why you see men, they say the bro code. As my friend, you cannot date my sister. Why? Because you know that your friend has messed up a lot of ladies out there. So you cannot break the bro code. But have you ever asked yourself that those ladies out there are somebody's sisters too? They're somebody's daughters too. But when it comes to your own precious sister or precious daughter, the code can never be broken. Men, we need to rise. We need to wake up. You are the stronger of the two genders, but that strength was not given to you to oppress us. That strength was given to you to protect us. Arise to your call. That is why you're here. Ensure that every woman around you receives the same care, the same concern that you will give to your daughter, that you will give to your sister. Watch out for every woman the same way you would watch out for your own sisters and your own daughters. And to women, like I said earlier, it is not anti-men. We are not out to fight against the men, no. But we also need to be our sister's keeper. Because it's sad enough that most women aren't even feminists. Even the so-called acclaimed feminists, they aren't feminists. Because feminism is not war against men, no. Feminism, true feminism, is actually watching out and ensuring that the rights of a woman are protected. Ensuring that a woman gets the proper welfare she needs. Ensuring that you give a voice to that woman around you that needs a voice. ensuring that you give an opportunity to that woman around you that needs an opportunity. That is true feminism. And as women, we need to begin to be the change that we want to see in the world. You are a woman. You know what we go through. You hear people say, oh, the worst bosses are the women. I don't know why. Is it that they never believed they could ever get there? And then when they got there, it was a shocker to them and they began to misbehave? I don't know. Or could it be that the pepper they were shown before they got there, they decided to start dishing it out to others? That you will feel it. Is that it? But fair enough. All the women I've had to work with in my life, they've been very amazing. They've been extraordinary. And I tell myself, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have worked with this set of women. So when I hear about a woman, a female boss being very harsh or very hard or very difficult to work with or something, I'm like, I don't relate. I really cannot relate. I really cannot relate. To the society. First, I'm going to speak to the mother of boys like myself. Train your boys to be feminists. Train your boys to be feminists. I tell my boys something when I'm teaching them house chores and all that, and they'll be like, why are you always on and on and on about you have to do this, you have to do that? And I'll tell them, when you get married, you cannot turn somebody's daughter into your personal house help. It does not work. So one of the rules I give them is, as long as you walk in this house, your feet touch the ground, you are entitled to sweep. You are entitled to mop. As long as you eat in this house, you are entitled to cook. And you are entitled to wash the plates. As long as you wear any cloth in this house, you are entitled to wash clothes, whether they are yours or they are not yours. And over the years, it has given me peace. I've been here for over many days, but they are fine. Sometimes people ask me, you have all boys, how are you coping? Are they not stressing you? Are they not? And I'm like, I cannot relate. I cannot relate. It's not that they don't. Yes, I give them their freedom to play and all that and do what they need to do. But they also understand that in as much as I have my own rights as a child to do this, the other person around me also has their own rights to their rest. So your own right to play should not interfere with my own right to rest. And I always try to let them understand that for every action you take, there is a reaction and there is a consequence. So you have to ask yourself, what consequence do I want? Positive or negative? That way you will be able to choose the action you want because of the consequence you're expecting at the end. So mothers, soon to be mothers, mothers that will be mothers in future, I am using this medium to plead. Let's train our male children to be feminists. there's a lot of divorce going on in the world today because the generation here now were mostly taught to be providers and providers alone. I won't say the mothers failed, because in that generation, that was all that was needed. All the men had to do was provide for the home, the women stay in the home taking care of the children. But that has changed. The dynamics have changed. I remember telling my children something. I said, when I teach you to wash plates, it's not plate washing I'm actually teaching you. I'm actually teaching you a skill. And I mentioned that when in my previous speech, when I talked about when my dad taught me how to wash plates and the skills I was able to get from it. So that's the same thing. When we make our male children do some things, we are not teaching them. It's not just that skill we are teaching them, but we are embedding skills that cannot be transferred. They cannot just give it to anybody. They can teach others, yes, but they cannot get it out of them anymore. That's what we are teaching them. And that is why I say that most of the men that came from the previous generation now, because they were exempted from some things, they did not actually get the skill required. And that's why when things began to change, when the dynamics of things began to shift, they found it hard to adjust. And you still see some men saying, I am the man of this house, I am the man of this family, I am the man, I am the man. If you are the man, you don't need to tell us. We'll see it from your actions that you are the man. And for those that were trained, you will also see it in them. They've been able to adjust to the dynamics. It doesn't make them less of a man, no. It has only made them a better man than the status quo. Let's train our children to be feminists. And that also extends to our female children, because we need to also understand that females too need to learn not just to expect the benefits of feminism, but they should also learn to give it out. Stand for the rights of another woman. Maybe by so doing, we'll stop seeing backbiting in our workplaces. We'll stop seeing sister-in-laws antagonizing their husbands' wives. We'll stop seeing mother-in-laws witch hunting their daughters-in-laws. We'll stop seeing family members acting very wickedly towards the widowed wife of their child or their sons. We stop seeing the society requesting for sexual relations from a woman before giving opportunities. We all need to be feminists. The future is equal. We need to understand that the future is equal. The future coming is not for men and women. It's for humans. If only we begin now. And this story that I have said, everything I have said today, is not a sad one. No. It's not a complaint about what is existing. No. Instead, it is a powerful story. It is a wake-up call to everyone, men, women, young, old. It's a wake-up call. that the time has come for us all to be feminists. It is a story of how we've been resilient for so far and how we have survived over the years. It is a story of brilliance, of women in the past generations and even now. It is a story of women rising again and again and again, despite everything the society throws at us. It's not about romanticizing suffering. No. We hear a lot of people say, if I ask us to write down the things we like about our mom today, and we look at it, it's going to be us romanticizing suffering. We hear things like, despite all that my mom went through in my father's house, she stayed with us. We hear things like, if I cannot sleep, my mother will not sleep. She will stay up all night. If I don't eat, she will not eat. She will give us our own last meal to eat. You hear things like, my mother would have 2 jobs, 3 jobs, just to carry us afloat. I remember some time ago, I was in the middle of was it Tejo Market? I was in the middle of Tejo Market with a friend, and we looked around. We just stood there and we looked around, and he mentioned something. He said, there are more women than men in the market. And it was like, and if you look, if you go check where their husbands are, you might find them gambling houses, you might find them in drinking spots, you might find them even lazing around, one aspect or the other. But the women are here hustling to ensure that their children are successful. I am a teacher. In the school environment, we see almost the same thing. You call for open day. Who will come? Mothers. You send an email home that, oh, this child, this, that. Who responds? Mothers. Pardon? Brothers attend to it at times. In rare cases. In very rare cases. You get an invite from school. Oh, your child is going to be presenting and this and that and all of that. We'll request your presents to come and then who comes? Men. Mothers. We see that a lot. Fathers are like I said earlier, some men are beginning to rise up to this wake-up call. They are already rising up to it. Some men. But we need more hands on deck. We need more men to arise. If everyone were to think about the world from the humanity view, not from the gender view, just imagine, picture it in your head. How do you think the world will be? And that's why we need more hands on deck. Because women deserve more. We deserve much more than the society is giving to us right now. We deserve to dismantle the chains that has held us all through generations. We need these foundations to be rebuilt. We need the walls of separation to be broken down. We need to give visibility to the women because they have a whole lot in stock. We need to give them the chance to shine. We really need to. We need to give them the chance to shine. We need to take out all the domestic limitations. All the a woman cannot do this. A woman cannot do that. We need to take them out. Finally, just as Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie